Are you always on the hunt for the best hands-on materials to stock your classroom centers? Because I know I am. Today, I'm sharing my most recent budget-friendly Amazon finds that your kids will love. Even if you don't want to or can't afford to purchase these things out of pocket, there are always ways to get these materials into your classroom. When there's a will, there's a way, right? So if you have an annual, or even if you're super lucky, a monthly budget, then you can add these to your list for your next purchase order. If you're in a public school or a Head Start program, you can write a Donors Choose grant to get these materials into your own classroom. And of course, you can always use the magic word on your director or principal, and that's please. Now, this episode of Early Childhood is premiering on Cyber Monday. And while all of the things that I'm going to share with you today were purchased on discount, they weren't purchased on Cyber Monday. So the price may not be the same by the time that you are watching this episode. But you can always wait until they go on sale again if you missed them. The best way to never miss an episode of Elevating Early Childhood is to subscribe to my YouTube channel or on your favorite podcast app. So first up, I'm going to share with you this super fun find for your sensory bin. And this is perfect for an All About Me theme. So here we have these learning resources birthday presents with numbers. Okay, so not only do we have a sensory bin activity that is going to be super fun, because what could be more fun to little kids than opening presents? And they have the number on the front. When you open the lid, they have the dots. So now it's a math activity too. Now, do you have to use it for a math activity? Absolutely not. You can use it for whatever you want, really. But I really like this for an All About Me theme, because one thing that we know kids love to talk about is their birthday. And that is very particular to them, and every child has a different one. I have this set up in just a little demo sensory bin for you, and I've got some colored rice in here. And I color all my rice. I'll leave a link below to the method that I use to dye my rice. And I used a lot of liquid watercolor in this as well. Here we have 10 of these little presents. So there's all of the presents are different colors. They each come with an item inside, which I didn't really quite get, because there's a number on the lid, right? This is the number 6, and here's the lid with 6 dots, but they're not putting 6 things inside. They have some really cute stuff in there. There's a little robot there. But what I did was I added some gummy bear erasers or teddy bears, and now they can count 6 little teddy bears in there. Now, of course, if you're doing something like this in the beginning of the year, the number 6 might be too high depending on the ages of your children. So I would just stick with the first 5. That's why I have these 5 here all lined up. So you can do it where they can put something inside after they've counted the dots, kind of like as a reward for counting the dots. They can put a present in there, and all the little presents are very cool. They're these, like, this is a kitten that I'm showing you. One of them was a little ducky, rubber ducky. There was the robot. They've all got cool stuff inside. There's an airplane. Super cool stuff. And it's this very durable, like rubbery stuff. Your kids are just going to have a blast. Now, in this sensory bin, I also have, these little silicone muffin liners. So your kids can make little muffin cupcakes. They can use little scoops and tongs. I have some little scoops here. I'm sure people are going to ask, where'd you get the scoops? I got those at the 99-cent store a long time ago. And the little muffin liners also came from the dollar store. They have them quite often at all the different dollar stores. So once they scoop and they put in a bunch of rice into one of these little muffin tins or muffin silicone liners, then they can add the birthday candles, right? Or they can add the birthday candles, the straight ones that you just count. For those of you listening along, I have the birthday candles that are actually numbers shaped like the numeral. And then I have straight birthday candles, which they can count. This, to me, is like hours of fun in the sensory table. This is going to be something that your kids just are captivated by. And I'm thinking that they probably are all going to want to be at this center at the same time. So you might want to think about that and how you're going to manage that, or how you're going to help them and negotiate the space and the materials. This is my first one. This is from Learning Resources, and you can find it. I will have a link in the video description. If you are watching along, there you click right below this video where it says more, and it will expand the description box. And I have all of these linked in a special Learning Resources Amazon storefront for you. And I wrote down the retail value for you. Look at that. I paid $12.99 for this. So think about it. There's 10 presents and each one has a little toy inside. So that is not a lot of money per present. And I think it's going to buy you a lot of fun in your sensory table or bin. I even have this little spoon here so they can pretend to like make cakes and stuff. And again, this is just a tiny little demo bin so you can see what I'm talking about. As this is airing, it's Cyber Monday, so you never know. I would go there and check it out and see if they have an even better sale going on that you could take advantage of. I have also seen this on deep discount on Zulily. So if you have any Christmas shopping to do and you want to add a discounted set of these birthday presents to your cart, you can do that too. I'm not affiliated with Zulily at all, although I am an Amazon affiliate. So that is the birthday sensory bin. And next up, we have these super, super fun acorns that you can also use in your sensory bin for a fall theme. If you're studying forest animals like squirrels, for a harvest theme, because squirrels hide their nuts, a hibernation theme, you can use these for a lot of different things. And I really like these for sensory play as well. So here we go. And once again, I have the retail value for you. This is from Learning Resources, and it was $15.99 when I bought it, and it was on sale. And there are 26 acorns. You guessed it, for each letter of the alphabet. Now, these puppies are pretty big. I like how big they are, so they're easy for kids to hold in their hands. This is my adult hand on the screen, and this, for the listeners, this acorn takes up a good portion of my palm. And there's 26 of them, and guess what happens when you open them? I'm sure you guessed already. There is a thing inside that starts with that letter. So I was holding the letter L, and when I opened it, there was a leaf inside. Now, if you're doing fall or something, that's pretty early in the year for pre-K 4-year-olds to be knowing their letter sounds. So what I decided to do was to use these letter beads instead. So they can just match the letters to acorns, and they can fill the acorns, they can put the letter in, and then of course, look, now we've got some scooping and some pouring going on. I just used the same sensory bin filler from the birthday thing, so I probably wouldn't use this birthday filler for the acorn activity, but this is just to illustrate my point here. And I would also not put out probably not all 26 acorns unless you have one of those really big sensory tables or bins. I have the smaller one from IKEA, so I don't think I could fit all 26 of the acorns in there. In the fall, use this with the letter matching opportunity. So here I have the letter A bead, and they're just putting the matching letter inside. You could just do that, and that would be totally fine. And I forgot to show you that, you probably already noticed, there is the lowercase on the lid, which is great too. But again, in the fall, if you're doing this, your kids probably aren't going to be able to match upper and lower at that point. So I just have them matching these little stringing letter beads in the beginning of the year. And when they're ready to start matching upper to lower, you can take it out again, and you can do that with the matching of the lids to the acorn. Then I would work up to having them put the corresponding item inside the acorn. So this is an A, and I see there's an apple here. So you could use it in 3 different ways. And if you do a tree unit, say you're doing the tree unit in the spring, you could talk about acorns because acorns come from trees, even though the squirrels might not be, storing them or hoarding them at that point. I don't know enough about squirrels to say for sure if that's what happens, but you could even use them then. So kids love finding things, right? So I'm a big proponent of using Easter eggs, those plastic ones, all throughout the year in sensory bins because they just increase engagement. Kids love to use them in the sensory bin to find hidden things. I use them all year long. So these are pretty much the same thing, only they're shaped like an acorn. How cool is that? I mean, I have taken plastic Easter eggs and written a letter on the outside and then have them match things just like this, only this is an acorn. How cute. And of course, they have adorable colors. We've got red, green, orange, blue, and purple. So you've got colorful acorns in your sensory bin filler. If you need sensory bin filler ideas, I will put a link below in the description. I have a blog post at Pre-K Pages all about different sensory filler ideas. So if you're not into using any food items, there's a list of non-food sensory bin fillers, and there's also a list there of other things you can use like rice and so forth. Next up, I have another super fun thing that you can use in your sensory bin or just in your math center, however you prefer to use it. But I think it would be super fun in a sensory bin. This is where I took like a deep dive on Amazon. I ended up just following every link that was recommended to me and got in a lot of trouble. But these are birds in a nest. I think these are so cool. And if you do a spring theme, when you're learning about trees and spring animals and so forth, you can talk about birds then. Or if you're doing a tree unit and bird nests are in trees, you can do it then. Lots of different times of the year that you can learn about birds in your classroom, but you don't even have to be learning about birds to use these because these are so fun. Your kids are going to love them. All right, so this is Birds in a Nest sorting set, again, from Learning Resources. I paid $13.99. And again, it might not be that price when you are watching or listening to this. And I thought this was a really good deal for what you get. So let's take a look. So here we have little bird's nests. See, they're in all different colors. So the bird's nest itself, they're plastic. The bottom is brown and it's striated like a bird's nest, looks like a bird's nest, but the inside has a color in it. And so, of course, we have lots of fantastic colors here. We've got red, green, blue, yellow, orange, and purple. So lots of great colors of birds' nests. And then we've got birds of different sizes. So this is a great big bird, and they actually fit on my fingers. So if I wanted to do a bird finger play, I could use the birds from the bin to do my bird finger play, right? So the birds are different sizes. We've got orange and all the colors that match the bird's nests, right? So you've got these in a sensory bin. And again, I'm just using that same filler. And in the beginning of the year, and especially with toddlers, you can invite them to sort the birds into the appropriate colored nest. That seems pretty obvious, right? And that would be super fun to do. But then you can also have a family in there. So let's see how many little birdies are in the purple one. We've got 1, 2, 3 little baby birds. Here's the mama bird. Talk about birds and how they lay eggs. So oviparous, is that how you say that? Animals. That could be part of your study as well. You could even put some little eggs in here. Those plastic eggs I was just talking about, right? You can even put those in here. And of course, they're going to want to scoop and pour, right? So they can actually quote unquote, help their bird fill the nest, because we know how birds, they take all kinds of things like yarn and so forth and pieces of paper and scraps to build their nest, so they could build their nest and then put their birds inside and tell them to line their nests so the babies stay warm. And look, there's a little teddy bear too. He can go in the nest, see if the mama will feed him too. I just think this is so stinking fun and a great value for $13.99. Okay, so that brings me to the next one, which is another really cool thing that you can use in your math center or your sensory bin if you want for an All About Me theme, families, homes, all of those things it's good for. And I think your kids are going to love it. So here we have the Learning Resources Sort and Match All About Me houses. So it comes with 12 houses, right? And they're different colors. And there's also a family. This box is just for the houses. It's just what the houses came in. And these are the people. Okay. So the houses and the people, I got them on sale for $17.89. I don't know. That was a little bit ago, not quite as recently. So maybe for Cyber Monday, you will find an even better deal. Here is what is inside. So I've changed up my sensory bin if you're watching along, and now I have kinetic sand in here because that other bin was too small to really show you all the houses because they are a little bit bigger, which is why I thought they would be great in a nice big sensory bin. But there's a little house for each color. Here I'm holding the purple. I love how it has back windows too. I thought that was adorable. And it has a little roof as well. So you can see that it has that element of surprise, just like the acorns, right? Because now they can open these up just like they open up Easter eggs, just like they opened up the acorns, and they can do a number of things. Now, they could just put the people in. These were featured on our podcast recently about the Math Center, and these are the little people counters, and I have these in my Math Center, and they have all the different colors of the rainbow. So you've got your red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple families, and they have all sorts of different sizes of people. I love that they have babies. That, to me, the babies and the animals are what really got me to buy this, because that is more like realistic, right? All families, not all families, but many families have babies, and many families also have pets. So it's very realistic, and they can just sort the people in the houses. That's the very basic way you could do it. If you wanted to turn it into a math activity, to have them roll a cube, right? A dice of sorts. I like to use those pocket cubes. And then they put that number of people into the house. And since this is probably going to be used for an All About Me theme, I would make sure that my pocket cube only had the dots on the dice up to 4 or 5 in the beginning of the year. And I just make one number on there twice, if you know what I'm talking about, because they might not be able to count out 6 people yet. Or maybe your kids can, and you just have them roll that cube. So that's one way to do it, and it's a very simple way, but your kids are going to, let's face it, when I was doing this with one of my tutoring students the other day, that child had all the families line up in front of the houses, right? So the green people were standing in front of the green house, and the blue people were all standing in front of the blue houses. He said it was a parade, and they were all watching a parade. They could line them up in front of their houses. They could count them out. How many people are in this family? How many people are in that family? They could pattern them. And again, this base is kinetic sand. I don't know if I would use it in a big tub. It's just for holding these things while I'm showing this to you. It's not like I'm suggesting you use this kinetic sand. I do like that it allows the people to stand up easily, though, because just on a flat surface, they will also stand up. I'm putting a few up on the screen here. You can see on a flat surface, they do stand, but if they're jostled at all, they may fall over. So I just like the kinetic sand for that, the feeling of pushing them in and having them stay. Of course, as I say that, I pushed them down too far and they fell over. But super fun applications here. So last but not least, I have these learning locks. Now, these are not from Learning Resources, surprise. But again, I fell down a rabbit hole and I was looking at math things for the preschool classroom, and this thing popped up. I knew they existed, but the ones I had seen were super pricey. And so the price on these really appealed to me. And so I bought them, and I want to share them with you now, because if you really want to up engagement, you're going to do a lot of fun things in your sensory bin, but these particular things don't require a sensory bin, and they are super engaging. And so they are these counting number locks. And the price they're listed for on Amazon right now is $16.99. I believe I paid a little bit less for them. So they do go on sale. And they're made by a bunch of different stores on Amazon have them. So it's not like there's any one that I can recommend. But they have on one side the word, which probably won't mean a whole lot to your preschoolers. The other side are the dots, which I love. In the beginning of the year, if you were to use these, first you would have to assess your students' fine motor abilities, because we're going to get to the lock part in a minute. I would probably use with only the dots up to 5, maybe 6 at the most. So the first thing you want to do is to find the keys. So each one of your locks has a corresponding key. So I was holding the number 3 lock in my hand. And so now I'm going to look for the keys that have the matching number. And I see it down here. So here is the number 3 key. And now I'm going to take it and I am going to find the lock with the 3 dots or the word 3. And I am going to try to stick the key in the lock, and it's kind of easier said than done. So you see what I say about fine motor skills. And now they have to turn it, and the lock magically opens. How cool is that? Now, if you have pre-K 3s and beginning of the year pre-K 4s, I would write the number on the lock as well, because these 3 dots and this word 3 aren't going to mean anything to them at that point in the school year. So I would use your Sharpie and I would write the number 3 on there, and then you can wipe it off again with a little nail polish remover later, or you could do it on the side so you wouldn't be worried to erase the words or the dots. So there's all the keys and there's all the locks. And I believe these go up to 10. So you can see they're cute colors. We've got teal, red, orange, navy, yellow. Super fun. And I would only, again, put out those few locks in the beginning of the year, as high as you think your kids can count. And if you know that you don't have any kids that are counting, by dots up to 10 or whatever, just keep those away, keep them out of your center or your activity until they're ready for them. This is going to decrease frustration, because I used these locks with my nephew, and he was close to being 6 at the time, and he still had a little trouble with the locks, and he has excellent fine motor skills. So just FYI, if that's something your kids struggle with, I think what he mostly had trouble with was getting the key turned the right way, because you have, 2 options when you're sticking the key in there. You can go this way or you can go this way. And then, of course, each lock is unique. And so he got a little frustrated with trying to figure out which way the locks went, even though he had the right numbers of the lock and the key. And so sometimes I would just have to show him that you have to really kind of fiddle with it. Now, I'm not holding the right key, of course, so it's not going to work for me, but you really have to fiddle with it. And I even had him look more closely at the holes and how they were lined up with the shape on the key. And then he kind of got it. And then he was engaged with us. And, at the age of almost 6, he already knows all his numbers and counts really high and all that. So it wasn't like he was doing this to learn anything. He just wanted something to do. And he played with this for a good 20 minutes at the age of almost 6. So if it's engaging to a 6-year-old, you know how engaging it's going to be to a preschooler of 3, 4, and 5 years old. So that was the learning locks. I don't know if that's their official name, but you can call them number and key locks if you want, whatever you want to call them. But kids are drawn to these because using keys in locks is very much an adult thing, and that we don't usually have kids do. And so they see it as an adult thing and they're really interested in doing it. It's unique. So highly recommend for your preschool classroom. So there you have it. Those are my most recent favorite Amazon finds that your kids will absolutely love in the classroom. All of these things are designed to increase engagement and time spent on task. So if you have the budget and you're interested in adding to your center materials, go for it. We will have links to everything in my Amazon storefront, which is linked if you're watching along in the video description below. And if you are listening along, you can always go to prekpages.com/listen. And once you get there, you can look for the blog post that goes along with this episode. So happy shopping. And until next time, I'm Vanessa Levin. Onward and upward. If you think these videos are valuable, you have got to come check out the Teaching Trailblazers program. Teaching Trailblazers is the place for teachers like you to get the professional development resources and support you need to thrive. It's where you can learn relevant, life-changing best practices with professional development created specifically around the challenges early childhood teachers face. It's where you can get access to a complete research-based pre-K curriculum that you can use either to supplement your existing curriculum or use on its own to get 100% of your students kindergarten ready by the end of the year. And it's where you can hang out and connect over all things early childhood with other teachers just like you and me. It's my favorite place on earth, and it will change your teacher life, I guarantee it. Come join us at teachingtrailblazers.com to get more information and apply today. That's teachingtrailblazers.com. I can't wait to see you there.